Hey guys, Ashley here, also known as Over Obesity on Instagram, and I'm making my first video, so that's kind of exciting. Um, I was just basically going to ramble on and on and on about my journey and what brought me to begin it, but then I found this really great little questionnaire thing pertaining to weight loss online. So I think that I'm actually just going to read those questions off and then answer them so that you guys get to know me a little better and why I'm doing what I'm doing besides the obvious health reasons. So I'm just going to start shooting off questions and hopefully you guys learn a little bit more about me. So the first question is, when did your weight become an issue? Um, when hasn't it been an issue is the real question. I mean, I look back at baby pictures of myself and I go, dang, like that's a chunky baby. Um, I certainly never missed a meal, that is for sure. Um, I think it's really been an issue my whole life. I remember being very young and being on diets um, because my mom was trying to help me. Bless her heart. She had a weight issue growing up, not nearly as severe as the one that I am dealing with, but she definitely struggled with her weight and she struggled a lot with self esteem. And I think that in her quest to make sure that I never had to suffer that way and go through the things that she went through, she tried very hard to, you know, make a change and, you know, it, it's kind of hard for a 7-year-old to understand why they're on a diet and why their siblings are eating Kraft dinner and hot dogs, and I'm sitting here with my chicken and my vegetables. So, I mean, my whole life has been that until I got probably, oh, I don't know, however old you are in grade 8, I think about 13. And I don't want to say my mom gave up, but I think she kind of realized that I wasn't gonna do anything. Um, so that brings us basically to the second question, which is, what were your previous diet attempts? Um, like I said, probably about 6, 7 years old is when my mom started putting me on diets. None of them ever did anything. Um, I think when I was in grade 8 is the first time I went to Weight Watchers. Um, and I wish I could tell you what my weight was then, but I honestly don't know. I refuse to even find out what it was. And I did have a small bit of success with that, but again, I was 12 and life at that point, school wise, was not. It wasn't good. I was going through a lot of stuff. And so that kind of just sent me right off the deep end. School was not a good time for me when I was young. Um, yeah. I mean, kids tease each other. You got me there, and it just was not a recipe for a happy school time. But, you know, also I was a kid and having sleepovers with my friends, and they're all eating junk food. And at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm going to do that too, because in my mind, I wasn't, as big as I actually was. So, third question on this would be, what makes this time different? And what makes this time different is that I spent a lot of my younger years being tormented, for lack of a better word, for my weight. And it really broke me down to the point where, like, you just don't even feel like a human being sometimes. And I think that just made my self-esteem so low that I was just resigned to the fact that like I was gonna die, like this was gonna be my life, and eventually it would just get me. And that would be the end of it. And you know, so it took me a very, very long time to build my self-worth back up and my self-esteem, to the point where I started thinking that, hey, you know what? Like, you actually deserve to have a life, because I didn't have one before, really. I couldn't do much. And, you know, I know that this time I deserve these things, and I deserve a happy life, and I deserve a long life, and I wasn't going to have that before. So that's really what makes this different, is that, like, you know, I just realized that, like, you have to love yourself, and I do, very much so. And so here we are on this journey, was 17, 18 months into this now, and still going. And I know that this is life. Like, this isn't something I'm forcing myself to do anymore. Although some days, yeah, you have to force yourself to get there, but for the most part, like, this is my life, and it's a good life, and I know that that's a big difference from the other times that I've tried as well. So what was your light bulb moment that pushed you to lose weight? Honestly, it was a long process. A couple of years ago, my very good friend lost her husband very, very suddenly, out of nowhere. And he was just a really, really good person. Sorry. And he wasn't even like that big a guy, especially in comparison to somebody like me. And his weight did play a part, definitely, in that event. And I remember telling myself, like, holy crap, Ashley, that could be you any second of any day. If you, like, even at this point, it could be. And I knew that I wanted to do something, because I didn't want that to be me. And I saw, like, the suffering that their family was going through, and I didn't want to do that to mine. So that was definitely a big thing. But even then, like, it took probably like 6 or 7 months before I really did anything about it, because I told myself I was going to, and then I just didn't. So sorry. I was not planning to cry in this video, but here we are. So then March of 2014, I was in my friend's wedding, and leading up to the wedding was hell, because when you're 460 pounds, try finding a dress that matches everybody else's. It was terrible. I almost dropped out of her wedding multiple times. But I didn't. We ended up finding dresses, thank goodness. And oops, sorry, that was not intentional. We ended up finding dresses, and I looked at the pictures from that day, and I just didn't recognize myself at all. And I had the gears turning in my head for quite some time, and I just said, okay, you need to do this now, right now, because if you don't, you're not going to be here much longer. And at that point, I wasn't even really sure that I wanted to be. But I also have my nephew, and there was a lot of stuff going on with that, which didn't exactly help the situation, but I knew that I wanted him to know me. Sorry. So I do it every single day for him. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna stop crying now because this is ridiculous. This is really the first time I've ever like outwardly voiced these things. Like, it's one thing to type them, it's another one to like actually say them. So I'm not usually very emotional, and Anna, Sierra, Justin, Kevin, anybody who's watching this who knows me, I'm gonna kick you if you ever bring this up to me because you all know that I'm not much of a crier. So, the next question, let's move on to happier things. How much did you lose so far? I actually calculated this last night, and I'm really bad at math and I forget, so I'm gonna try and do it in my head. But I started at 460, which is insane. And as of yesterday, I'm down to 318, so I think that's 142. So yeah, 142 pounds down. And it's taken me since March, the end of March, 2014 until now to do that. So we're going strong. Some weeks are better than others. Sometimes I make bad choices and kind of don't move on down that scale, but that's life. And my whole philosophy is, you have to enjoy life because you don't know when it's going to end. So if I want to go out with my friends and have a burger and french fries, I'm going to do it. And unfortunately, that's not always the best theory when it comes to continued weight loss, but it's still going. It's a process. The next question is how much you have left to lose. And that's actually a question that I get a lot, which is like, well, what's your goal weight? What's your goal weight? Not just on Instagram, but like from actual family members. And I never really have an answer for them because I don't have a goal weight. I just want to be healthy. I don't want to be obese, or as I was and maybe still am, like morbidly obese. Like, I don't want that. I just want a healthy weight range and to be strong and do the things that I love doing. So, I mean, one of my goals is Tough Mudder, and that's a big thing. So to be fit enough to do that, I would definitely, like, whatever weight I'm at that point, that's probably my goal weight. So we'll see how it is. But yeah, I don't really have an answer to that one. So the next question is, what kept you motivated when you were down? I get down sometimes. It doesn't happen too often, but when you come, I spent a lot of my life being bullied and all of that stuff, and so even if I get like the slightest bit of criticism or somebody telling me that I'm not good enough, or even if that's not what they mean, if that's what I'm foreseeing it as, like, it eats away at me. So even though I don't like get down too much, it does happen, and when it does, it's not usually a good thing. My first reaction still to this day when I am upset is to run to food. And I live around the corner from McDonald's and a Little Caesars, so some days I have to basically throw my keys somewhere I can't reach them and tell myself I'm not going to do it. But what keeps me motivated the most is Landon. That's my nephew. Technically not my nephew, but my cousin Kevin, who is 10 months younger than I am. So we're the same age right now until October. He married my best friend of 20 years, Anna, and they have their little precious button, Landon, and he's basically like my motivation for wanting to be healthy and wanting to be around for a long time, because like I don't have my own kids. I have PCOS, so the odds of me having my own kids, I've been told, are not that great. Which not really a thing for me because I've never wanted my own, so either way. I've always planned to adopt, off topic, but yeah, that's always been my life's plan, and that's still a life's plan in 5 years once, I have a big girl job. And so I love Landon, like, maybe a little too obsessively sometimes, some might say, but he definitely makes me want to do better and be better and be healthier and happier, so that he has me there, because I never want him to have to look back and say, oh, like that was my aunt, but so that's definitely what keeps me going, is that beautiful little child. So question 8 is, what do you think hitting your goal will be like? Well, just let me tell you about the first time I ever did a 5 kilometer. When I started this, I couldn't even walk probably half a kilometer. It was a struggle for me to get out of bed. It was not good. And the first time I finished a 5K, which is about 6 months into this, well, one, I thought I was dying because my legs were going to fall off, and so were my feet. But yeah, I almost cried, definitely, crossing that finish line. So I think it's going to be really emotional, because my ultimate goal right now is to compete in and finish Tough Mudder. So I think that's going to be really, really emotional, and also I'll probably feel like I'm dying at that point too, but it's going to be an experience, that's for sure. Something just hit my window outside. I live like, oh, don't mind my messy flower pots. I live like in a provincial park, so there's like a whole bunch of animals out there half the time. Sorry. So question 9 was the biggest struggle: food, exercise, or temptation? I would say still all 3 of those, because in all honesty, like, food is just what I went to constantly when I was happy, when I was sad, when I was this, when I was that, it was food. And I remember a lot of times growing up, like, even my best friend would say to me, like, but you don't even eat that much. And I'm like, no, I know, right? Like, I don't even eat that much. I did eat that much. I just ate it when no one else was around. Like, I was a secret eater, so to speak. So, nobody just ever really knew. So I try really, really hard not to buy things that I know I'm going to overeat on. And that goes into temptation. Like, I try and eat mostly paleo now, but I mean, it's not all the time. I still eat peanut butter because ain't nobody giving that up. But like, I used to buy granola bars thinking, oh, hey, like, here's a healthy snack that I can bring with me on the go. Except then I would eat 3 of them. So yeah, I don't buy those anymore. That's just done. I'm not good at temptation because I've only been doing this, a year and a half, and for most of my life, it was this whole see it, want it, take it mentality when it came to food. And, so I still struggle with that every single day, and I'm far from perfect, and I do things, I eat things that I shouldn't eat, and that's just, you do it, and you kind of have to build that ability to go, okay, I shouldn't have done that. What do I need to do to go from here? At least that's how I look at it. Exercise. I was really good for so long, but like, I kind of got bored, and I mean, I'm pretty active outside of the gym. I hike, I bike, I kayak. I'm lucky enough right now to work a job where I get to make my own day basically and work with clients outside and say, hey, guess what we're doing today? We're going on a 7-kilometer bike ride. And my clients are young children, and one preteen. And so they are able to do those things with me. And so I'm lucky to be able to be active outside of the gym. But, it's still, like, getting in the gym has been hard for me lately. I started doing Couch to 5K recently, which I think has really, like, kind of reignited this spark in me because it's new and it's different and it's a goal to work towards instead of forcing myself into that half hour of cardio that I've been doing. It's now like, oh, hey, guess what? At the end of this, you're going to be able to do this really amazing thing that a year ago you barely walked. My first 5K, I barely made it through walking. So to know that the next time I do a 5K, I'm going to be able to run it, like, that's pretty amazing. So yeah. I still struggle with all 3 of those things: food, temptation, exercise, but I think that I'm going to struggle with it for the rest of my life. And it's just learning how to deal with those struggles in a way that is going to help me reach goals instead of push myself away from them. I was not expecting this video to be almost 25 minutes long, and we still have 1 question to go. So I'm going to try and get through this really fast. The last question is, how has your weight loss affected your relationships? I think that for the most part, it's been amazing for my relationships, only because I'm able to do so much more of these things with my friends and with my family that I've always wanted to do, and I could never, ever do it. I remember February of 2014, I went down and visited Anna, Kevin, and Landon. And I remember Anna saying to me before I got there that we should go to Disney. And I said, no, I can't afford that. That's a lot of money. That's $100. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I played it off like, that's why I didn't want to go. But really, I really wanted to go. I wanted to go so badly. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to do it. I would not have been able to stand that long. I wouldn't have been able to walk that far. And that wasn't fair to them at all. And there was no way my butt was getting on one of those rascal scooters. Let me tell you, I would rather sit out than do that. So when I went down to visit again this summer, and I was able to do Disney, and not just a few hours of Disney, I mean, all day open to close Disney, and I was pretty sure my feet were, gonna have to be amputated. But I wasn't the only one that felt that way, so that was nice to know that that was normal and not just, me not being able to do it. So, I mean, to be able to experience things like that with my family and my friends, something as simple as going tobogganing with my friend Justin in like the last winter we just had. We've never been able to do stuff like that. Going canoeing, going kayaking, all of these things that I'm getting to do now that I've never gotten to do because of my weight. I can do them now, and to spend that extra time bonding, it only makes your relationship with people stronger. That being said, I've had to cut out people from my life, and it's not necessarily that there were issues caused by me losing weight. These were issues that were long-standing, and I let it happen for a long time because I thought that's what I deserved and that that's all that I was worth as a person. But this whole journey has really made me realize that I don't need to let people treat me the way that certain people treated me in the past, and those people aren't in my life anymore. I obviously wish them the absolute best. You don't have somebody in your life for that long and not want the best for them, but number one is looking at what's the best for yourself. And I can honestly tell you that cutting certain people out of my life, I've never been happier, and I've never had such an amazing group of people surrounding me as I do now. My friends are amazing. I'm sure you guys have all seen pictures of me and Travis. Great friend. So I have really good people in my life, and yeah, so that answers that question, and I'm pretty sure that was it. So considering this video went from what I thought was going to be about 10 minutes to being 28 minutes, almost 29 minutes and counting, I'm going to say goodbye, and I just want you guys to feel 100% free to leave me any questions or anything you want to see me talk about. My life gets a little crazy. I'm a support worker for children and families that are in the foster care system. So my schedule is nuts. Plus, I'm a full-time student getting my Bachelor of Social Work. So my schedule gets crazy. So I can't promise that I'm going to make videos, multiple times a week. But I am going to try and shoot for once a week. So if you guys want to see more, feel free to leave me questions down there, or even on Instagram at overobesity. Yeah, so first video done. Okay, great. So yeah, I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.